There we go.
All right, now hopefully
Okay.
after all that, have you been in touch with Scott?
I told him I would let him know when
Oh,
we
good.
were ready. So.
Wow.
Okay.
Now we feel like accomplished, you know, and if the meeting didn't even start yet.
Gonna adjourn early.
There we go. Do we have, is there a meeting right at?
Oh, what?
Is there another meeting at 7? I don't remember.
You would,
I hope not.
I don't- maybe they only have-
Is this, we have to let him in.
Hopefully, sure.
Participants.
I'm here.
there he
Okay,
is.
Oh, you there? Okay.
finally, technology works.
We learned something about the system without wasting time.
Did you see the thing in the paper that said the town has reduced the budget? Town of Temple to what, 1.81 or whatever,
No,
from the original proposal of 1.86 or something like that going forward next year.
yeah.
And in parenthetically there, however, the Conservation Commission budget is up 16%. You know, and some other budget was up like 12%, you know, it's like, okay, yeah, we're up 16%.
Which is
And
about
we're like,
$48.
well, yeah, we're like, well, yeah, we're like 0.3% of the full budget, and it's like,
That's not fair.
this is why percentages you can't really pay attention to.
Yeah.
16% of zero is,
Well, no, I.
16%.
We're 3,100
Yeah,
last year.
I know.
This year.
Okay. So,
Sean, you can share the meeting.
call the meeting to order,
Mhm.
6:21.
Right.
Minutes. Did anybody have any corrections or problems with the minutes of January 8th?
I guess I was looking at the wrong thing. Those were the final minutes from December on the email. Okay.
Did I do that? I meant to attach the draft. I'm sorry.
Maybe it's in a different email.
I have the January 8th one, but I don't remember how I got it.
I have January 8th. It says draft minutes. Is
Okay.
that not right?
Yeah, that's what it should be.
Yeah, the one I downloaded, let's see what's it say here. Let me look at it again. Oh yeah, this one's okay. It's funny. I was looking at it before and I thought it said December. All right.
Cockpit error.
Okay.
What it says, I have 2 questions for one of the best.
Okay.
All right, so any motion to,
I'll make a motion to accept as written.
Second.
all in favor?
Aye.
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 Accept the minutes of January 8th as written.
Since we're looking at them, I ask 2 questions. One, the solar guidelines.
Mhm.
Click, I printed this out on the electronic copy. Click here and that takes me to the webinar. I'm gonna forward this to pop up in my email shortly before the webinar. Is that a hyperlink that'll take me there?
That's what I started doing with when I took over the planning board, everyone was actually using not took over the planning board, that sounds weird, the clerk.
Sounds impressive.
Just me, though. Like the entire link you know, with all the gobbledygook was in there, and I'm like, okay, no one's really going to type it in,
Yeah,
so.
right.
I started doing all the hyperlinks in the agendas as well as in the. minutes.
Okay, so if I forward this to myself
Yeah,
and it pops up, I can
Yeah.
click here, okay. Second question, the seeds that I was supposed to sprinkle.
Yeah.
I wasn't able to time it, so I
It's
sprinkled
okay.
it before that. However, what do you think if I do it tomorrow morning? I think a lot of the snow's gone away. And that strip
Oh,
should be fairly, well, along the edges of stone walls and stuff like that, and that faces the
so
sun.
from the, yeah,
So
yeah, sure.
Yeah.
if there's exposed grass, I'll dump it out on the way to work tomorrow.
Yeah, give it a try. I mean, it's an experiment, so.
You take a rake with you.
I can do that. I'm trying-
Don't,
I
I
don't
would,
think it'll
I
sink
would waste.
down in.
That, we're supposed to get snow and then rain afterwards, so that's gonna
But
be
that'll push
heavy.
it down.
Yeah, exactly, that's what I'm saying.
Oh, so you're saying. just
Don't
throw
bother
it-
with the rake, yeah,
Throw it, go.
I think, yeah.
Okay, I'll put those in my car tonight, so that it reminds me of stuff on the way out. I'll do that tomorrow.
Cool.
I think we have more snow coming,
Okay.
Sunday, like a foot.
Yeah.
9 inches or something.
Good grief.
Saturday night into Sunday, right? Yeah.
That's what I
Okay.
heard, but I have the Apple app and never read, so I'm hoping it's wrong in the right direction.
So,
I hope Noah still exists. Jeez.
It's
Hey,
kind of exists.
yeah, did you hear that Musk?
Oh, he's
Went
targeting
into
that?
the building today, yes.
He's targeting the what?
we should probably not get off on that tangent.
Yeah, yeah.
We will never leave the building.
Right.
All right, so we have new business as number 2. Do we have new
Sure.
business?
I just put that there in case someone did have something.
I don't.
Okay,
I don't have anything.
I have no new business.
You do?
No,
Oh.
I have no new
Perfect.
business. Okay, so on to updates. A Schoolhouse Meadow native plant invoice. I think,
Yeah, I just got it. I'll process it.
okay,
You just sent it to me, I think today or yesterday.
Yeah.
right?
yeah, okay.
I completely forgot
Do
about.
we, shoot, what I realized, I'm glad this hasn't happened yet. We said that we would pay for it, but I think what we actually need to vote on is the amount.
We do?
Do we?
I don't think so.
Somebody just has to sign.
Yeah,
Okay, all right, we voted to expend. I think in the past, we've, but maybe it's been with bigger items.
Yeah.
We've like said, we're going to spend this much money, like for the kiosk or something. But
yeah, I mean,
since
we
this is
put
small number-
a fixed amount of money in the budget for the Meadow, so
Okay,
as long as we're living within that, I think
Okay.
we should be fine.
okay,
I mean, Carol let us know.
Yeah, sure, let you know.
Carol
Pretty good about that stuff,
or
but I'll process it, tomorrow,
Peter.
so.
Okay, Fisk Hill Conservation Project, Mike.
Yeah, so I got an email, so I think Scott did too, they extended the purchase and sale to the end of March, because they're still having lawyer speak between the Fisks and Piscataqua on,
And the
you know,
easement,
what the language, yeah, just
Okay.
tightening down the language, so. So right now, it's purchase and sales extended to the end of March.
Do the issues seem small, Mike?
Well, I don't really know what the issues are, so Jonathan via email thought that it was, just detail stuff, so, but.
That's good. Yeah, okay, that's good.
So that's what's going on there.
anything else? Or is that all?
That's it.
Okay,
nice.
When they close it, he'll send us an invoice and we'll pay it, so.
okay. So the next is the BioBlitz. And I sent email to everybody. So the BioBlitz dates that they offered or recommended were June 14th or June 28th or July 12th or August 16th. They said they could also do May, but it would be less biodiverse. The training dates they offered were in March and April. So it's going to be over a month after the training. I didn't ask them why it was that, but I figured that if they're presenting these, there's a reason. They may be constrained or something.
I wondered if it's not a bad idea, just because it gives people the chance to use it
Yeah,
before we actually have the BioBlitz. I mean, I don't know how many
Right.
people will, but
And whatever, I mean, whatever they present, however, it's probably would be either Steve or Jeff. Steve is,
when did they say when in April? Or did they say April?
for the training,
Yeah,
I
I don't remember.
any Thursday or Friday evening in April,
Yeah.
except the 18th.
Maybe-
March 27th and 28th may also work.
Maybe we target the last Thursday of April and then the early June BioBlitz, and that way they're,
That would get this narrowest, yeah.
yeah.
all right, so let me see, what date would that be? Because I'll. check
So it would be
To see if the town hall is open.
Thursday,
On Thursday,
24th.
the last Thursday in April.
Thursday evening in April. Any Thursday or Friday, all right, so what's the last Thursday in April, right?
24th.
24th, okay. So I will ask him for the 24th, Thursday, the 24th of April for training. Now, we've asked them
Big.
to just do it online. We can use the big room, but
Well, so there's someone in here at 6 that night.
the annex,
The Recreation Commission's in here.
but we would want the big room anyway.
That's what I'm thinking,
Yeah.
yeah.
'Cause
We would
Yeah.
want the big room so we can present it for people who want to come with their phone. But if we're asking them to do it Zoom, right? That's
Right.
what we did. So they will be on Zoom. We should have the big room if it's available. And if people want to show up, we can help them physically while they listen or watch.
I'm wondering, like Harris Center, I just watched or participated in one of their webinars that's all online.
Yeah.
Do we need it in?
There's a point, there's an aspect, I've done so many of these conference calls. I find that the audio is better when you're set up at home, you have your own, rather than being in a big echoey room. Personally, the only advantage would be that we can walk around and look at them and help them if they win it, but otherwise it's worse, in my personal opinion. And so if somebody's like, well, I'm trying to do what you're saying and it doesn't work, I don't see why. And if it's on their phone, they can't share it, so they're.
iNaturalist is pretty simple.
It's, yeah, right. And so, to me, I'm not sure how or what Jeff and company are going to offer that's above just learning it naturally, but I'm sure they have something, but it's probably not technical. It's more like, inspirational and or informational, but not technical, so.
So
I wouldn't have a problem with just saying it's all, just do everything online. We could blast it. This is an online only Zoom meeting. I mean, there are some people that refuse to use Zoom.
But the thing is, to use iNaturalist, you have to have a smartphone anyway,
Yeah,
and,
but no, there are,
but they can watch the recording afterwards.
yeah, yes, they can do that. They could do that, yes.
I mean, the other thing is I don't think it's an extra cost on top of Zoom to have a webinar. So I don't think we have I don't know that we have.
why is that? I mean,
Oh, you're
to
right.
me, webinar is a Zoom call. I mean, there's a webinar or call it whatever.
Well,
you want.
webinars, you're right. I'm not thinking, we do want a regular Zoom because we
Yeah.
want people to be able to join in and be able to chat and all of that, as opposed to webinar, you normally don't get to do.
No, we would
anything.
definitely want
A Zoom.
a regular Zoom meeting where everybody can interrupt and come and ask questions, et cetera. Where a webinar is more like, shut up and
On the
listen.
Zoom, you can use the chat and put questions in.
Yeah.
So they have to just be able to log the questions, and we have 5 minutes at the end of the Zoom to go through the questions, you know?
We have to figure out how, like, does one of us have to come in here or there to start the Zoom meeting? And
Only
the rest
if we
of us-
use the town's Zoom. meeting.
Okay. So
We
maybe
don't
ask-
have to,
so
right?
Maybe ask,
You have to set
thank
it
you, I
up.
was trying to blank on his name.
Well,
Yeah,
If he's hosting.
well, that's just it. Does he,
I get asked.
Yeah.
is he willing to host the training on Zoom? And that way we could all log into his.
Who else?
Well, anybody can
I think the
host.
max is a 45, unless you have
Well,
a bulk purchase.
Right, if you purchase, if you're just a user like us, it's 45 minutes.
Yeah.
But if you
don't get
purchase
full-
a script, then you,
Is that the
Yeah,
you don't
constraint?
ever let
Is
it
it
go.
limited by numbers or is it limited?
I don't know
time.
what the limits are, but I
It's
know it's
40
45 minutes is you just,
Yeah.
if I called you on a Zoom, I get 45 minutes to talk to. Might not be enough time.
Okay,
Yeah, I think we should.
so we need
So-
need Jeff to host.
Somebody
And
who
ask him
owns
if
an
he's
account,
Able to.
right?
And if he isn't, then, I mean, literally, I could come into there, start it, and then go back home.
Okay, so that's,
And like, we could log in
yeah,
to
yeah,
that from our home computers, just like everyone else does.
right.
Or maybe I.
Or we,
need to stay to
you know,
admit
just
people.
come in here, start it
Yeah,
and stay here while.
I was gonna
Yeah, that's
say,
what I
yeah,
would do.
because
I
we may
would
need
just
to.
come
Oh, there's some
we may
people who are
need
in
to-
here that night. Yeah,
Yeah,
we
but
can
out
do it
there-
in the big room
Right,
and, but it doesn't have to
Stay
be
there to
open
admit.
to the public in the big room.
right, but stay there to admit. people.
That's the safest. Okay,
Okay, all right, so we don't need to ask him. to.
okay, so
So we're
we
gonna,
will want the big room because we don't want
Yeah.
other people using the town meeting.
right,
So
Right.
is the other, but wait a minute, you can't use the town meeting for more than one meeting at the same time,
yes,
right?
you can. They're two different accounts.
Oh, they are, okay.
Velocity is apparently shared between them.
Well, that's fine, but so they're, okay, I didn't,
Yes,
you may have told me
They
that
are two
before, that they are two different accounts and I forgot. Okay, so that, as long as we preserve the room so that we have the account available, that's good.
right.
Okay.
Okay.
So
April 24th, do we want to say 6 o'clock or ask Jeff what he thinks? I don't know if he's got a time.
Well, if we want people to log into it, maybe 7 would be better. I don't know. I don't know what people's personal
Well-
schedules are.
I think when we've had like the water testing presentation, it was like 6. If it's 7, we could do 7, but that just means people are going to be here until 8, and that's
Yeah,
burdensome. I mean, I don't think,
Well, and families, it'd be cool
Just
if we
thinking about
get
it, yeah.
families excited, and so I think.
You know,
that
what I'm
makes
thinking
sense.
is it's 6. You might get people, eating dinner while
Which is
they're
okay,
watching.
yeah,
But if you go to 7, you might get people wanting to put their kids to bed
exactly,
towards the end. So I'm thinking
Right.
earlier is better.
yeah,
I think earlier is better, because that's when we meet normally. It's when a lot of,
okay.
okay, so the iNaturalist training will be April 24th, we'll book the big room and have Zoom at 6.
And if Jeff can host the Zoom, has
No,
an
we don't
account,
want him to.
We don't-
Because
Okay, fine.
we're gonna do that from
Okay,
over
fine.
there and stay. Okay,
and the first,
sense.
what did you say, the first,
that's 6/14 maybe,
What are the dates? 6/14 and what?
6/28, and then there's a couple in July.
four,
Okay.
4/20, April 24th is the
For the
training,
training.
right, but for
April
the
20
BioBlitz.
For the BioBlitz training is April 24th, and for the actual BioBlitz is June 1st one, 14th?
That's what you said, yeah.
Okay, 6/14, June 14th is the actual BioBlitz.
I can't do that.
Why not?
I'll be in Costa Rica.
How about how about the 28th?
Yes, I can do the 28th.
Okay.
Same for that. And no, we don't need any indoor space, is that correct? I mean, are we out there doing things?
I would hope so.
Yeah.
We're not
Okay.
gonna find all of
Okay,
the
so I'm
stuff
not gonna-
being
Unless we
in.
look for
I mean,
cockroaches or something.
I don't know if there's going to, we should have a rain date, or something like that, but
Yeah, there won't be many.
late June is not that bad.
Yeah, that's a good time.
So, okay, so April 24th is Thursday for the BioBlitz training online.
Is it BioBlitz training or is it just iNaturalist training?
I guess it's maybe iNaturalist training, yeah, I guess that is.
Okay.
Really. And then the actual BioBlitz is
June 28th,
June 28th.
and let them pick the time?
Well, is
Yeah.
that,
Did
is,
they
is the
say?
what is the 28th?
28th is a Saturday.
Okay, so whatever he decides is probably,
Okay,
I mean, he knows the town, he,
Right.
whatever he's planning on doing, but
oh, so if we can have as much info about this, or at least about the iNaturalist, well, it'd be nice if we had both and we could make a flyer to hand out to people at town meeting.
we should be able to get these dates firm before town meeting.
Dates
Yeah.
and ideally times.
And times, sure.
Okay.
Well, we have times for training, right? We said
We
6.
do. As long as he's okay.
As long as he's
Yeah.
good, yes. And then we would ask like anything that he can tell us now about the actual BioBlitz, time,
And place.
place, prep, anything. Like,
Okay.
I mean, I would imagine there's things to think about, like, and this is what I thought some of the training would be, is like what to do with iNaturalist, how to go about it, how do you do a BioBlitz using iNaturalist?
Yeah,
I've never done a BioBlitz, so I don't know.
yeah, okay. So can you follow up
Yeah.
with him and then, I guess it's just we'll just make a simple
Just need,
flyer unless he wants to give us a picture one. I mean, if we print it black and white, it'll be a lot cheaper.
yeah, we can just print it out. I don't think we need, I mean, graphics would be nice, but if we can just print it, that's fine. Black and white, laser or whatever.
Okay. Like how?
You just need,
Super
it's
cheap.
just like something for people to remember.
Right,
Hand it to them so that it helps them remember, and maybe they'll do something, stick it on their refrigerator or something.
Yeah.
I mean. Yeah, we can make it more complex and fancy if we want, but I'm not sure if it's really gonna be worthwhile, because we're telling them at over a month before the training,
right.
and so we're gonna have to remind people a lot.
You know what would be cool is also if you could ask Jeff if he has some little blurb that we could put at the top that explains what this is. So that people, that'll get people excited about it.
Sure, any canned
Exactly.
PR that he has that he can share. And we could maybe mark it up or change it. Yeah, that makes sense. He probably,
I'm sure they have nice stuff from past.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. And if he can give it to us electronically, then we can just like
Exactly.
change stuff accordingly. Or he may even just be able to do it himself, for us, once we give him the dates. But,
And we're paying for this, or is the planning board?
We are, the BioBlitz is our
Yeah,
thing.
okay, yeah.
The NRI was the planning board. So can we move up the discussion about when to have the March meeting? Because we either need to decide everything, what this flyer is gonna be and who's gonna print it and give the approval to pay money to print and all that stuff. Now,
When's town meeting?
15th. March 15th.
Yeah, okay. I get back from Africa March 17th.
oh, All right,
So why don't
so,
we just decide to authorize an expenditure of up to $150 to print flyers? I mean, that. You know what I mean? We could do that today,
we could, and then, I mean,
and no more than authorization, if you will,
okay.
If we needed to,
if we need to, right?
If we
Not that
need to.
Point to, but
yeah, but.
Yeah, well, I'm just saying, we either need to figure it out now if our meeting is gonna be after town, if our March meeting is gonna be after town meeting. We need to figure this out now, because we're not gonna have another meeting before town meeting. So,
Well, our meeting, our normal meeting would be the 12th.
right, but
But
I
that's
thought
only
Scott
3 days
can't make,
before.
I thought Scott can't make the 12th.
Scott's not back till after town. meeting.
yeah,
So
but then we have to print them.
He's not gonna
couple of
make,
days, shouldn't be a big, as long as we get them designed ahead of time, yeah.
Scott, did you expect it to be in our March meeting?
It doesn't matter. I'm just saying I get back on the 17th.
Okay. So we did, I mean, we don't need Scott to make this decision. If we wanted to have a March meeting normal and then squeeze it in very quickly. But I don't see why we couldn't decide to,
Okay,
you know, give somebody latitude or people, we could vote to have,
Yep.
you know, anybody who's interested in doing it, or,
I mean, we have $300 of printing in our budget, so. And I
Well,
think
what-
when we printed those flyers at the last meeting, I think it was like $97 or something like that.
okay, do you remember how many? I can probably look
I,
back in a minute, maybe.
I want to say 1,500, but I don't know if that's right.
that's
That's huge.
way too many
Is that
than
way
we
too many?
need.
Yeah.
If we
Let me-
we don't need more than 100, you know?
Okay,
I mean, but if we
then
do,
my numbers don't line up with anything then.
if we,
Just disregard everything I just said.
if we,
It'd be awesome if there were 1,500 people.
um, if we're going to pay money, then we're not gonna have that done.
We printed 150, they were colored $97.50.
Oh, so we did print them
Yeah,
colors.
but this was for the West property. We
Okay,
did it for the West property. We got some stuff from Chris.
Right,
It was
right.
color and blah, blah, blah. So that's what we did.
we would have to, if we're going to go that route, we have to decide and authorize people now. Cause we're not gonna be able to do it at March, between March and the meeting.
If we
Right.
have it digitally, we could just go, you could just go over to the copies and more and print them all off. I mean, that's what I would do, but.
But if we have a snowstorm every other day. we won't be able to. Well, I agree. Let's do it now. Make a
I would
decision
rather
now. So-
authorize people to do it now. So is that something you would like to do?
Well, I'm happy to do it, but I'm also wondering, would Jeff, because Jeff gave us. Was that about the NRI presentation? Is that what we printed it for?
And I think it was
The Western thing?
I'm not sure. But I thought it was for our public meetings that we had for the two conservation properties we dealt with
Okay,
here and West
Well,
property.
wouldn't have been
but-
Jeff.
no,
No, it wasn't Jeff. I don't think it was Jeff, but I'll tell you what, I'll tell you what, I'll do it. You guys can authorize me to print 150 for no more than, call it $150. And then if you get me the digital stuff from Jeff, I'll take care of doing it.
Okay,
So,
I have a thought.
okay,
Because this is just, unless it's huge, if he could do 2 per page.
I was thinking yeah, 2 per page, just cut them in half.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's exactly what I was thinking.
Perfect,
Yeah,
okay.
yeah.
So if it could just be a cute picture or something about, or whatever graphic he wants
Time,
to
date.
do about,
we have no idea what Jeff's gonna give us.
no.
And he may give us nothing.
Correct, and if that.
And so we're going to have to make decisions after tonight.
That's okay, we
Okay.
can still do it. If you email us.
Yeah.
I mean, I have, on my work computer, I have the full Adobe, so I can do stuff with it. I don't know if you do too.
I had Adobe Pro, yeah.
Okay,
So.
so we can pick our own pictures and color
Yeah.
the background and.
I mean, whatever Jeff gives us, we can tear it apart and do stuff with it. So, I
Yeah.
mean, that's that's not a problem, but I think we need to have a subcommittee.
Yeah.
Authorize a subcommittee to be
Okay.
able to do this on their own, make decisions and work within Mike's budget.
Yeah, so
Okay,
why don't you and I do it?
okay,
Since you have Adobe Pro, I have Adobe Pro.
okay.
We'll
Okay,
just,
so
you get us stuff from
Whatever-
Jeff.
I'll get stuff
whatever-
from, I'll get PR stuff electronically from Jeff and as part of the vetting of the dates. And then,
Perfect.
We'll create a
well,
flyer.
then Mike and Cathy will work on something that they're happy with that we can print out either professionally or on a black and white laser printer and cut it up or whatever you want, whatever you want,
All right,
whatever you think's right.
so we have.
I mean, it would be good to have something to give at town meeting, which is in March,
That
but
would be the
also
objective.
give that maybe to hand it out the week or two before or
Well,
something.
we can have it at the library.
Yes,
That's-
exactly. So I mean, that it would be,
Yeah,
you know, not just one shot, have it for everything we need.
So.
Stick it in the store.
So I'll make a motion that Cathy and I, create the flyers for the BioBlitz, up to 150 flyers at a cost not to exceed $100.
I second. All in favor?
Aye.
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 Okay,
All right,
I have a funny idea. So have a woodpecker and then have a little comic bubble that says knock knock and then have an owl that goes, who's there?
Aw.
And say, let's find out in the BioBlitz or something.
uh-huh.
good idea.
That's really,
Can you,
can you make that?
Yeah, why don't you,
I can provide the, maybe I can try. I mean, let me try to do it right away. So, we'll see. But yeah, I have woodpeckers and owls to make it.
yeah,
Okay,
you got some time. Why don't you make that flyer and send it to us?
Okay.
well,
And
just
then-
send
and
us
then
the
we'll
graph.
Yeah, send us the graphics and we'll
I'll
add,
send you the graphics, okay?
Yeah,
Yeah.
just send us the pieces. I think the pieces is
Yeah.
better than the whole thing.
Okay.
rely on Jeff, other than the dates.
Well,
The dates and the
if he
book.
gives us something that's delicious, we can consider it, but you two can
Yeah, we'll sort through it.
sort through it, yeah.
Okay, perfect. And that way we can also do the edit. It's always good to
Yeah.
have more than one pair of eyes on.
Okay. Any more on the BioBlitz?
Nope,
It'll be fun.
yep.
Okay,
Excellent.
next is the volunteer agreement form. Says Cathy.
Yeah, so Eric signed our page that we'll keep on file. I just wanted to check, did you sign the second page and send it to Eric?
Was I supposed to sign that?
Well, it's
I didn't
either,
realize
you're the
that.
only one who can sign unless it's Scott.
Oh, I thought I
Well-
was only could authorize expenses, but I'll sign and send it to Eric. I got an email from Eric saying, thanks for taking care of this, so I thought it was all done. I didn't do anything, but.
I mean, he had asked originally that he wanted a piece of paper
Yeah,
on him
yeah.
that he could show to people to say,
Did
hey,
you- Did you
it's-
sign it?
I did not, I mean,
There's no signature on it?
there's the second page, he filled out, his information was on the
Yeah.
first page, and so someone just needs to fill out sign the second page
Okay,
and send it to him so he can print it and he'll be
yeah,
good.
he's supposed to pop over to my house this, next week, so I'll take care of that.
Okay,
As a logger, he has to have his credentials and paperwork available
right,
in the field. So he's actually just reflecting his personal, professional experience.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
any more on that?
nope, that is it.
Okay. I just a point of question. Are we hoping to go through the
Item 4,
item 4 and or your attachment about the zoning recommendations tonight?
that's item 4, isn't it?
I'm not sure. Yeah, Moosewood Ecological Zoning Audit, pages 8 and 9.
So that was going to be, and it depends, because we started so late, so we may not, but that was towards the land conservation strategy with bringing in NRIs, I mean,
We should,
Jeff's input from the NRIs.
Okay.
recommendation.
So I would say that probably, I mean,
Should be.
I want to hear what Clay has to say about the highway department, but I think the other things
Well, that's quick.
other things in the updates could be skipped unless,
Can we do the education article really fast?
oh, sure, that's right. You did have something for that, didn't you? Okay. We'll go ahead. Go ahead,
So
Clay.
mine's real quick. I mean, nothing's changed since
No, okay.
last week.
Okay.
It's just the warrant articles and
Do you want me to leave it on? I mean, I guess,
I don't see a whole lot changing because town hall, town meeting,
okay,
it's gonna be discussed and do we make the money more general than it used to be? And that's about the extent of it. And I don't know that that group's gonna exist after the meeting.
What,
So
I didn't see, the warrant article's been written?
they were written and submitted. And it was basically take the money that can only be used to move the highway garage, and since that's clearly been voted down, put it in a trust fund for the highway garage,
Okay,
and that's the extent of it.
not what to do with it, though.
Not what to do with it, that's up to the highway garage and the select board,
Okay,
because that's not,
and that's just common sense practically.
Pretty much.
Why put money in something that was voted down? Put it where,
well, the money's sitting there and cannot be touched.
Cannot be
Can't
touched.
used for anything,
right.
which is.
So
which
move
is dumb.
that to something else that might be used.
Right.
Okay,
so I'll remove it from, so in the minutes, I'll say remove it from the agenda and we'll revisit as needed. in the
as
future.
needed, sure.
Yeah.
That makes
Something
sense.
heats up again, sure.
Yeah.
Perfect, okay.
We can always bring something back up. Solar panel guidelines, we can skip then?
I'm gonna go to
Are
the
you still-
webinar and I'll just update. I don't know what's after that. I think it's like a series of 6 things or something. it
Okay.
says.
Yeah.
But
Good.
I was gonna sit in on the first one. And I'll update you, and if there's another one before the March meeting, I'll sit in on that one too.
Okay,
And I'll just
Okay,
Yeah.
tell you what I heard.
Great.
This,
perfect.
if they offer the spreadsheets or
You-
not spreadsheets.
this guy has done he's part of the Peterborough Renewable Energy, whatever commission. He's done a series of articles in the local paper. That was from a few weeks ago, and I just thought it was interesting information, you know?
Who?
What's his name? Paul Nadu or something?
Paul Nadeau, yeah.
Oh,
Yeah,
yeah,
the renewable energy credit
Yeah,
is something that I just
but he's
never
never,
could wrap my head around how
Yeah.
you sign a piece of paper. And they keep track of what you generate, even if you use it. And you get credit for it, and
Yeah.
at some
I-
point, it's pennies. But
I-
you get pennies sent to you.
yeah.
it's like
But
selling your
he's-
soul.
He's had other,
Is this mine?
yeah, you can have that, and you should look at some of his other articles. They're more extensive than just the credit, so,
From my perspective,
since he's,
that credit, if you're letting somebody else claim their green energy when it's your green energy. Like you're like,
Yeah, but what am I gonna do with it?
it's like double counting in my ex.
I-
If your green energy, it's like you're selling, it's as if you were using fossil fuel electric because they're getting credit for it. I think
about that.
electric credits is not, if you're green-minded, don't do it.
I don't.
You don't want people taking your credit. Otherwise you're using dirty energy.
Well, but
That's what the credits are about. People selling their credits, meaning you can claim green energy. You're using green energy. I'm 100% green energy because I bought it. Why, you don't want to sell your credits? Or else you can feel bad about your own panels. That's,
let's
We
talk
can
about
take it
this
offline.
Because I'd like to understand that more, because I'm in the process of installing a 500 kilowatt unit system on the roof of our building in Nashua.
Oh, yeah, I thought you already
If-
had one here, right?
Well, I have one here
Yeah.
and we're generating more electricity than we're using.
Right,
So, my electricity is free at this point.
okay.
Credits,
you have a battery system?
Yeah.
Yeah,
So if what we're doing with the credits, and I don't know if there's a way to back out of them, But if what we're doing with a credit is letting somebody else
Count,
have dirty energy that they're not entitled to.
that's what it's about. That's what, and you get some money,
Not a lot.
not a lot.
And it's not what I.
It's not a
It's
lot.
not why we installed it anyway. I couldn't care less.
That's my, point. Okay,
Okay, so I shouldn't be doing
it all depends on what you're doing it for, but if you're doing it because you don't want to use you want to not promote dirty energy, then don't sell your credits. But anyway, let's get on to the next education article.
So I sent that, I don't know if everyone had a chance
butterfly thing.
to read it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes,
Yeah.
That was good.
Thank you. I'm
Yeah.
glad I'm not trying to recreate the wheel. It was something that was in I don't know, Steve Robert's state forester forwarded the, so anyway, that's my thought was if we get people excited, especially with the BioBlitz 2 coming up, if we get people excited about butterflies, for example, and maybe we'll do something with other and say, I have no idea. If you all have ideas, tell me. Then it'll be easier going forward to be like, hey, you need to use natural products in your yard because otherwise you're killing those butterflies that they
Yeah.
love now. So, that was kind of my idea of getting some really positive and getting people to love and care for nature.
When it comes to the butterflies too, I don't know if I shared this before, but classroom butterflies, bringing chrysalises inside is bad.
Yeah,
You know,
share
outside.
that. Yeah,
Mm.
and I mean, we can definitely. So one of the things I said, I reached out to Carol because I wasn't sure. I looked at the website and so far what I don't know if you've looked at the Concom page, but there's a big, quite long menu now on the left-hand side of things you can click into, and like the Woolly Delegates there, Spotted Lanternfly, those kinds of things. And then there's a news section that is recent events. And so since this one has a bunch of classes that are coming up, I suggested to Carol that we put it in the news. I don't know if there are going to be any recordings or not. If there are, then I could do another one at a later date, that could be put in a permanent. Like if you think about it, some of these articles will be timely and some of them will be perennials.
yeah,
They'll always be applicable. So what I also suggested to Carol is taking a bunch of those specific things out of that menu list because it's getting super long, and have some kind of a title that says, learn about the nature. Well, I didn't want to be a dull thing, no offense, but like learn about the nature around you or something like that. And that would go to a page. And then we can have like native plants and insects, invasive plants and insects,
Yeah.
that kind of things ordered by topic that will then go off to those pages so that
Yeah.
people, so it'll be a permanent resource for people if they're trying to find something or, wondering like, hey, what's this weird bug I saw? And they can look. So does that sound
Yeah, it makes
reasonable
sense.
to you all?
Yeah, I was just thinking, there's probably stuff we could pirate from like the Harris Center or some other
Oh, definitely,
maybe,
definitely. And the guy who's teaching, at least this first one, is from the Harris Center.
yeah. Oh,
So, yeah.
yeah.
And
Yeah, makes sense.
I watched a webinar recently about fishers from the Harris Center. And there is a recording, but the guy went into so much detail, and it was 100% about how the blood thinners,
Coumadin and those things.
yeah, they use them as rodenticides. I forget what they're
Oh,
called,
yeah.
anticoagulant
Yeah,
rodenticides or something.
oh,
Those things are killing our foxes, our fishers, our raptors, our, like anything that basically eats mice. They said
Right.
it
Oh,
takes time, and what happens is it can build up in their body and they can be okay, but then when they exercise their muscles, I guess it just gets released, and they've seen like raptors literally fall out of the sky dead. Because the action of their wings just gets it flowing in their body. And so, but anyway, that just felt like it was too big of a hammer to put there. Maybe someday,
But that's a good topic to,
It
It's
is.
a relevant topic.
It is.
Right.
People think, oh, it kills mice and harms.
right,
I
right.
would never have thought of that.
Okay, well, maybe what I'll do for next month then is try to write kind of a summary info, because it was an hour-long recording and he really goes into all the details. But it's definitely a big problem in New Hampshire.
Even
so-
if we like can we hyperlink that? You could write like a
Oh, yeah.
one paragraph summary and just hyperlink it to that. you know?
Right, yeah,
That'd be a good way to get education out there too.
okay, I will.
And then
plan
you're
to
linking
do
it
that
up
for
to
next
the
month.
real professionals as opposed to
Exactly, yeah.
us amateur professionals.
100%. So yeah, and as you all are, I don't know, reading newsletters or whatever,
Yeah, yeah.
feel free to like send me stuff that looks good
Alright.
and I can
Okay,
like.
that's a good idea.
unwrap information.
Well, that's what I was gonna say, is kind of a side of this. What I had heard is that the fisher population is crashing.
Yeah.
Because the bobcat population is booming,
Mm,
and bobcats are the only thing that eats fishers.
Yeah,
And I knew fishers were nasty. I didn't realize bobcats were
I
nasty.
love fishers because they eat porcupines and I
Yeah.
hate porcupines. They are one of the few. They will actually attack a porcupine and then like run back and then attack it and run back. And they
Yeah.
keep doing that until it just
we,
is
we
exhausting.
had a porcupine living in a tree, bottom of our field for 10 years, you
Wow.
know? And a fisher killed it in my neighbor's backyard.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
So,
I've had so many fruit trees and other things
yeah.
destroyed,
all the
utterly
trees, they
destroyed.
Yeah.
Peeled apart.
I've had that too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you know who decides what goes on our Concom page? Is it
Carol.
Carol?
I mean, you know, we've sent her things, like we've sent her the spotted lanternfly and that thing
Yeah.
about the trees, all the pine trees turning yellow. We sent her that.
Okay,
And so, but it was, I just specifically took a look at the page and thought, okay, we need to like do some organizing here.
okay.
Cause she just does what we say,
Yeah, yeah,
essentially.
okay.
Um,
I see that the news and announcements is kind of low on the page, but it's there.
on the laptop, it's right up high, but.
It's a-
Oh, okay.
And,
On the app, it's lower, yeah,
Yeah.
okay. Yeah, we should probably put under news and announcements, the BioBlitz,
Yeah.
something for the
Yeah.
bio.
yeah,
you
as soon as we get the
Don't
blurb,
forget the
know.
date.
Yeah, yeah, okay. Okay, so is that it for enough for the education article?
yeah, do you all, I don't know if you all care, do you want me to do a Blue Sky?
Do a what?
Blue
Do a
Sky,
Blue Sky account for us?
What's Blue Sky?
Blue Sky is
It's-
basically the kind of safer version of social media.
Well,
Yeah.
it's, yeah, it's, there has the word blue in it for a reason, and it was born after X changed,
Oh,
or became X.
Oh, yeah,
Twitter
yeah,
became
right.
changed. There's also Mastodon, there's a lot of things out there, and Blue Sky's just one of the getting bigger, I guess.
Mm.
I just don't know if people are using it.
yeah, I was
don't
gonna
know if
say,
it'd be
who around
useful
here
to
is
have
using
a
Blue
template.
Sky? I mean,
Till
well,
2 minutes ago, I never even heard of it.
Yeah. Well, that's fine. We don't have to do it, but
we
like,
do have his, Scott's Facebook
Right.
conservation account.
well, and we should post that as well. But I don't know
Right.
if people, just because of everything that's going on, I mean, I'm totally divorced from Facebook. I don't.
Yeah, I don't do that either.
So I don't know. It's just a question of, will we reach any Temple residents that way? If not,
Right.
what most people are doing is like on their existing social media accounts, they're saying, hey, I'm also on Blue Sky, find me at
Yeah.
blah. So we don't have to decide now. That's fine.
I still think the best answer is just put it on the email blast.
Well, the town, there are only like 200 people on the list
Really?
out of what, we have 2,500 people.
No, 1,500
1,500.
population, yeah,
Oh, okay. So,
something like
But
that.
200 is
Still
probably half or 2/3 or a third of the households.
Yeah,
1,500
probably, yeah.
people, most households probably have, on
I
average.
think we have
probably
like
two people.
500 or 600 households, right? I think
Yeah.
that's the number in this
do we?
set, yeah, I think so. 560 is ringing a bell. You would know that from your planning
Oh.
board stuff.
Yes, it's
I have
around
not
500
seen that.
because we did the math. And to add enough streets, that the highway garage,
Ah,
to add enough streets to justify another plow,
Yeah.
you would have to literally double the households
Okay,
That's
then
500's a magic number.
then 200 is pretty decent then.
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
I mean,
Be nice
you,
to-
you always try to do everything. You know, when in PR, it's like do everything. If we have blue sky, you can do it. If there's anybody from Temple there, but you know, there's still a lot of people on Facebook. There's a ton of people. So,
Well, that's
I
good.
mean, I don't mean like nationally. I mean,
Yeah,
you go
no,
into the Temple page, there's lots and lots of people there. So
okay.
you're reaching people. If you don't want to do it, I still do Facebook.
Right, well, you have been doing the postings. right?
Yeah,
So,
yeah,
um,
yeah. I still post things there. So,
Excellent.
okay.
My wife made me get a Facebook account so that I could see her family stuff, but
Okay.
I don't use it.
Yeah.
Using it just to consume is actually okay, but it's also the
Yeah, I don't like
most dangerous.
I don't like getting sucked into.
You
that
do,
stuff.
they're all gonna suck you in, so
Yeah,
you just have to be strong.
I dumped all our Facebook stuff, what, 5 years ago?
Yeah,
And now, it's like, oh, the Model A guys all communicate on Facebook.
it's unfortunate, but
Yeah.
you know.
Well, right now, yeah, Dick, if you see anything, tell me.
I've missed funerals.
Yeah. Yeah,
My own
anyway, okay, so NH Land Trust Coalition meeting?
Yeah, I was gonna go to that. It's tomorrow, but I got a conflict. And they moved it to a Zoom because of the weather. So, Ann McBride sent me an email and wanted me to. There's a fee to go to the meeting, $20, no big deal. But what I'll probably do is just do a membership to it. It seems to be pretty reasonable.
Do you wanna, should the Concom be?
Well,
members?
you know what, I'll look at that. I was just gonna do it for myself, but we could think about that, but I wanted to kind of get a feel for whether,
Would make sense.
Yeah. but
Okay.
this meeting is all about raising money for conservation purposes, so that's why I wanted to go,
Yeah,
so.
well,
But
and if a lot of their topics are conservation
Yeah,
commission
yeah.
related.
so.
Yeah,
but
yeah,
I
I
have a
mean-
conflict, I can't do it tomorrow.
I would be curious what they, you know,
Yeah,
what they have to say about Concom's raising money.
yeah,
I mean, I know we can, I'd be curious how often it occurs.
yeah, so anyways.
Okay. So you are,
No, I can't do it tomorrow, but since I've got the Zoom, I might just sign into it so that I can get access to what they talk about.
so you can Zoom it.
Yeah, it's a live meeting that they changed to Zoom for tomorrow because of the weather coming in. Because it's up in Concord somewhere,
Okay,
so.
so you can attend it Zoom?
Or
I
are
don't
they
know.
doing a
I'm gonna try, but I have a conflict. I can't do the whole meeting, so.
Oh, you can do part of the meeting.
Yeah.
Okay. When is it?
Excuse me?
What time?
I think it's at 9,
Oh, okay.
so it was at 10 in person,
Yep,
and now they switched it to 9 via Zoom. So,
okay. So should we proceed into the work session for the NRI and land conservation strategy?
I would think we would want to just do that as a meeting. You know what I mean?
You mean a separate meeting?
Just, yeah, I mean, maybe we dedicate our March meeting to that topic, because you could spend a couple hours probably going through it. I mean, you read what Jeff recommends, and then you try to figure out how does that link into our planning documents in the town, and then how does it link into zoning documents? I mean, it's,
Well, there isn't much on, I mean, we've covered pretty much most of what was on the agenda today, so there's not hardly anything for
We-
next month.
yeah.
Oh, okay. So, but I would like to understand, what is the deliverable? Like, what are we doing? Are we changing which document in the master plan, or or are
I
we
don't
not?
think you're changing anything. I think this is just my opinion.
Yeah.
What you're trying to figure out is how do you, as a Concom, embed yourself into the process of, you know, in your conservation philosophy, into the process of zoning, master planning and stuff like that. I mean, you read what the new zoning ordinances are, and, you know, do you try to say, okay, well, Concom, we're interested in water preservation, or, you know, taking care of our water rights. Do we go deeper into what are all the setback requirements, and, you know, do we create rationales to increase those setbacks from wetlands and from water, from streams and stuff like that? I mean, just an example, but,
Well,
you know, stuff like that, it's,
Christine has wanted a Concom member on the planning board. That would be probably the thing to do.
oh, she
Are
has.
you running?
No.
Okay. She
Oh,
asked
to
me
be a
for your
member?
phone number. I didn't have your phone number.
Oh,
No,
to be
no,
a member of the-
she asked, and I,
Just be an alternate that,
I think,
There are two people actually who have already offered to be alternates,
oh,
so.
there. Oh.
I mean, the idea is, I was hoping, I had this and I'm not seeing it. So, what's their name? SWRPC is the one working with the planning board, doing all of this work for the next 12 months, essentially. And part of their work is looking at, I think they're looking at site plan regs, they're looking at subdivision. I think they're looking at the zoning ordinance itself. And they're implementing or making suggestions. Obviously, they're not doing it without Temple's okay, but they're making suggestions for how to deal with stormwater,
Right.
how to deal with, like the question of, you know, are we doing 100-year storms? Like,
Mhm.
How to deal with buffers and landscaping and what to specify. At this point, they're just talking about like native plants. How to deal with steep slopes. So these kinds of issues, if it may not be that we have anything extra to add, but this is the time to do it because these documents are being updated. So for example, you know, they, you know, and all the open space requirements and all of that. So this is really the time to have the Concom's input into making these regulatory changes.
Yeah, I mean, but you have to kind of be part of the process to,
Well, they
Right.
want to, and I mean, they were at last night's meeting, I mean, they were talking about, they want to work with the Concom on some of these issues. I mean, obviously, if we sat there and said, oh, we don't have any input. But we should at least be able to say like, yes, we actually have looked at this. And we've looked specifically at what Jeff has recommended. We're really like, we think, you know, this comment or whatever is really important. Consider maybe consider going more than 100-year storm, you know, whatever we would say, but the planning board does want to work with us. And
Yeah.
they're,
at least the current one.
but if you, like, what Jeff wrote, like, there were three things that stuck out to me: the wetland stuff, protect the wetlands, incorporate the NRI into the master plan, and then do the wildlife habitat, natural resources protection audit, you know, and see how, how that interfaces or interacts with their new zoning ordinances, things like that. So like, you know, if they
Yeah.
say, okay, we're gonna put a subdivision over here, and that disrupts like
Like a
300
wild-
acres of continuous
Yeah.
wildlife corridor,
yeah,
you know, that's how I would see us getting involved with
yeah,
them. But
I agree.
I mean, you gotta
Well,
have a seat at
you-
the table to
if
really
you-
participate.
You have to go, somebody, Concom, either is on the board or goes to all of those
Right.
meetings.
Right.
I mean, I go to all of them.
But I mean,
I have at times spoken up on behalf of the Concom,
yeah,
so I can always.
And
do
so how do
that.
they react to that? So when you speak up?
Oh, they're totally okay with it.
Okay.
I mean, I don't
But-
just like interrupt over them. It's like when they're talking about the Concom, they usually look at me.
But are they taking what you're suggesting and saying, okay, we're gonna figure out how to implement that into our
Well, I
conversation,
haven't-
into our work stream or something like that?
Because we as a group haven't had anything to share with them. I haven't said anything like that. I have
Okay.
said like, I will, I will bring this up at our next meeting. Like, that's the kinds of things that I'm
Cause I
saying.
went,
And
you know,
like-
I read their new zoning ordinances and then tried to do it based on what Jeff was suggesting, and say, okay, well, is there anything in that?
the amendments for this year.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's just for
It's-
housing.
yeah, it's all mumbo jumbo.
Right, I mean,
Relative
this
to-
second section, that's the part that they're working on now for next year's
Next year.
2026. For those amendments are going to have potentially these kinds of issues. And your comment about like the conducting a wildlife habitat
Yeah,
and natural
yeah.
resource audit, that would be another thing like the NRI to go to them and say, I mean, I don't know if it would be under our funding or if it would be under them, but it would be like, we think this is really important because, this is what Jeff wrote and we think,
Yeah.
blah, blah, blah. Would you consider, because their grants, at this point, their grants are only for workforce housing. And so a lot of this stuff does not tie into workforce housing directly.
Right.
So I don't think they're gonna be able to get grant money, so we'd have to do it as literal, putting money in the budget. But this is something, a perfect example to say like, yes, we really recommend this. We think
Right.
this is really important
Right.
because.
Are you saying the stuff they're working on for 2026 is the workforce housing stuff?
It's workforce housing with like I said, like the stormwater buffering, landscaping. open space.
Southwest
Terminal.
recommendation.
Exactly.
Okay,
Blended in, but it's like the thing that Sarah Bollinger from SWRPC said last night is we can't like come out with a stormwater ordinance because that would be like a big red flag to the grant folks saying this has nothing to do with housing. But if inside the housing language, we put things about how to deal with stormwater, then it passes.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
yeah.
Well, so you have a seat at the table. How do we have a collective seat at the table, the Concom, relative to as they build out their new ordinances for next year?
I mean, what we could potentially do is, let me back up. So what they're doing, Sarah's doing the majority of the work. She's coming to a planning board meeting once a month. Usually the first meeting in March, she has to come at the second meeting just because of vacations and whatnot. And she's spending an hour. And what she's doing in between that time is she's starting with the site plan review. So she's tackling that first. She's gonna put in a bunch of her potential edits and send it out to the planning board and ask for their opinion. If there is also specific work in there that she's done for conservation minded, topics, then I think in that case, I would double check with like Bruce and Christine, but at that point, when I see it come through, I could ask if, if they wanted to like invite the Concom and
Yeah,
therefore I, forward all the documents and all that.
Is it, just generally speaking, on the nights that she's there, we should have Concom members there? Does that make sense?
As long as what they're talking about has something to do, like last night, it wouldn't have made sense because it was it was still the intro. She's had 2 meetings now. They're kind of going over the schedule. She dug a little bit deeper into the specifics last night, but yeah, if the topic has, conservation, I mean.
Do you know that in advance?
She's sending, what she's doing, I usually send out the agenda like the Thursday before the Tuesday meeting. So she's planning on having like all of her documents ready by like that Thursday so that I can send them out. And at that point, I can, I can glance through them, and if it looks like there are, because her edits will be in red or something. If it looks like there are things that we might want to speak up on, then we could, then I can reach out to Christine and Bruce
Yeah.
and ask about having us.
I mean, I'd be willing to go to the meetings if it's, if it's pertinent
Right, but that's
topic,
why,
right? So,
that's
but
why,
I'd be looking for you to say, hey.
right, that's
you're
why,
there.
at this point, it's waiting to see what Sarah provides for edits and whether it makes sense for us to review them and be there. One of the things she did say, it's maybe not like black and white, because one of the things she said is like, yes, we're working on the site review first, but as we go through the rest of the regulations, there may be something that, that we end up changing that comes around and we need to revisit them again.
Yeah.
So it may be that, if we miss something at the beginning, we can catch it the second time around.
Because I thought just the comments that we made on the storage place on the
Yeah.
101, that, well, I mean, that had an impact, right? I mean,
It did. It
yeah.
did have an impact,
Right.
and they were sincerely grateful for
Yeah.
that. The problem was our regulations had no teeth in them, so
Yeah,
it didn't
right,
matter what we said.
Right. So, if it's part of the problem is that we're always the tail of the dog. So we just, somehow get to the nose, then you can participate in a little bit more
Yeah.
aggressive fashion, but,
Yeah,
I mean, I think it's important for us to have a seat at the table for these types of discussions, so.
I think
and I
if
think
you,
they're totally open.
to accomplish that correctly, you have to be on the board. That's what I think.
Or you just have to be
Or
a
review.
loud audience.
Well, you have to be there quite a lot.
You have to be there.
You have to be there quite a
Right,
lot.
right.
And you have to be interested in that, all the details of the words.
Right, right.
It's very word specific. They
Yeah.
go, they can
Yeah.
argue about sentences, I mean, it's all about words, because it's legal, it's.
Right,
It's a
and
legal
there
thing.
will be a legal review after, so
Yeah.
it's not like
Yeah, no, I
you have
understand.
to get it right the first time, but I will say, they're very open. They're all very much wanting to be,
Yeah.
Yeah.
doing the right thing for the
Doing
town.
everything, yeah.
Right.
So,
I mean, I could see, I think what you want, Mike, is to be part of the discussion. And I think the discussion happens there.
Right.
The alternate would be, they give us a draft and then we
Input.
make inputs there, but that's not a communication to me. I mean, that's just disjoint. The only way you're gonna get it in their document is to be part of the original discussion. And that takes a lot of time. Yeah, like Cathy, she has to be there all the time. Or at least on the nights that
right.
they're doing
One
it.
next
When
meeting.
when the woman from Southwest is doing it, is it the beginning of the meeting or is it?
Yes, oh
the
yeah,
Beginning?
yep, we
Okay.
arrange it that way, so.
I mean,
Yeah,
that's
she
good,
leads.
because they have sometimes they have all this extra business, so-and-so's doing,
As it,
so
well,
what
and
division?
I'm doing the agenda these days, so generally what, they do review the meetings first, but that's the meeting minutes, but that's usually,
Yeah.
2 minutes. But yet, no, whenever there are guests, I always move them at the top, because that's the
Yeah.
only thing that makes sense.
yeah, that's good, that's good. But I mean, it's nice if when you go to if you're going to go to the planning board, if what you're going there to do is right off the beginning, then you're not sitting through things
Correct.
that you really don't want
Correct.
to have no input to.
Yeah.
I mean, when Scott and I, and a lot of us went to the storage thing, I mean, we especially Scott was very hard in pushing back on it, and I think that really made a big difference. So I mean, going to these meetings, I think, but that's like kind of just was one thing, it's different when they're authoring documents. That's harder, that's different.
But I mean,
Well-
you know, there'll be a few days lead time to review them and prepare
Yeah.
whatever comments you,
But I mean,
So could you share those documents with us?
yeah, because I mean, I share that, they're
they're-
Like-
with the town, they're up on the public Dropbox.
Yeah,
Everyone.
but if we know what they're gonna be talking about specifically, then we could look at them in advance and then maybe say, if we have ideas, we could go and say, hey, are these, can we stick this in there, you know, at the meeting?
I mean, I read all the planning board minutes usually. But you know, those hyperlinks don't always work. Or in your notes, you say, you know, the attachment is at the bottom
Yeah,
and they're not always there. And I didn't know if that was just an IT issue. But you
the
can find,
attachments are in Dropbox, you mean?
they're in Dropbox,
Okay,
but maybe it's me interpreting that the attachment is at the bottom of the.
no, they're not, no,
So-
the attachments, that's a good point. Maybe I can make that clearer. When I think of attachments, like in an email, I
Yeah.
attach all of those things when I'm sending the email to Carol at the
Yeah.
office.
Uh-huh.
And so she's printing them all as one package.
Oh,
So if someone wants the minutes, then they get the minutes with all of those attachments.
I see.
But no, electronically.
But when
the
they send out the
files-
minutes, like when I get the notice that the planning board minutes or whatever available, that email drop, and then I open that up, I read the minutes.
Okay, I will change the word attachment to say these files maybe are, you can find these files here.
Yeah, that would probably be better. 'Cause
Okay, I will
that's,
do that.
now I've read them all in the Dropbox now, but
Okay,
I was reading, I said,
Okay.
this stuff's never there.
yeah, you're right, it is never there.
Right, yeah.
It would make the minutes super long.
But you should keep us then informed via email, and if you think there's things that, you know, any of us should attend the planning board, we should go.
Okay.
Somebody should go. Doesn't
Yeah, and I
be-
think it should be a consistent person, because they may be talking, I mean, I think we should all go if we want to, but,
Well, even if it's an inconsistent person, we can, you know, get our arms around the topic, bring the topic back to the commission, and then we can kind of
Have a-
create a position on it and then bring that back to the planning board, you know?
Is there time to do that?
What's that?
Is there time to do that?
Well, like
That
tonight,
could take a month turnaround.
right.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think like the whole
You have to do a
turnaround,
sidebar.
wait for the Concom meeting, talk about it, make a decision, by that
What I
time
would
you're
do
too
is I would-
late.
If it were me, I'd
Well-
send an email to you and Scott, and then I'd send a separate email to Clay and Marie, and then
Hold
I
on,
would
hold on,
circumvent the.
what we can do is, because if anything, like this month, planning board's gonna be before Concom. We can, if we bring a topic back to Concom and discuss it here.
Yeah.
What we could then do is create our statement in an email, send it to the Temple PB, whatever that.
Yeah.
And then from there, Bruce usually, I mean, that goes to all the planning board members. We could copy Sarah Bollinger directly
Sure.
at SWRPC so that she can see our, you know, statement in real time, so that it doesn't have to wait for a whole month.
Yeah.
You mean do that after our meeting?
In between the planning board meetings, we have our meeting in between the planning board meetings, and we can take the topic, massage it, create a position paper, and then send it off for the next planning board meeting. That's, you know. Yeah, we should be able to do that.
Yeah, I mean, we
Yeah.
kind of did that with the all-purpose storage.
did, right,
We were
right,
sending,
right.
Yeah,
Scott was sending emails. for them,
okay.
Feedback, so.
Yeah, because that's exactly how that worked. Right, in between
Yeah.
the meetings, we wrote a position
Exactly.
email, yeah,
Perfect.
so.
It just may be all granular, much more granular,
Yeah.
not just a statement, this wording or something.
Well, we wrote a pretty detailed,
I mean,
Letter, I
so the
thought.
point.
But I
of-
mean, we're gonna be inserting wording,
we're not,
little
we don't
lines.
insert anything, we're just getting our position involved so that they can wordsmith it
Right.
appropriately and include our interests and concerns into their
Right,
document.
Sarah's the one who's doing the
Right.
technical language. There has to be a legal review on top of Sarah's work, but Sarah
She's
can
actually
take
doing the
our
actual writing.
Ideas, yes, into
Yeah.
technical terms. Because she's done it for so many other towns,
Yeah.
so. This is what she does.
So we could just hammer her with, can you take what or, or whatever we are
Yeah.
interested in and integrate that in, and if she thinks she can do it without breaking the grant, then that's. Okay, well, that's less detailed and more doable, actually.
Yeah, I think it's very doable, because it's influence peddling, is that what you're doing, really?
Yeah,
So-
it's just being like an advocate for
Right,
things
right.
and.
I think.
I guess the fact that we're having somebody external do the actual authoring of these zoning changes, that
It's a good thing.
it makes, it depoliticalizes it.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, for those that don't do Facebook, there were some pretty intense responses to the changes that were innocuous for, recently, so.
Those ones that they just sent out?
It was whatever was proposed about a month or so ago.
Yeah, for the permissive versus
Oh, really? There was
prohibited
a lot of.
zoning.
Yeah.
Facebook chatter about those?
Yeah,
Oh, wow.
I mean, there was opposition at the meeting too, quite a bit.
yeah.
Yeah.
So, I
From
mean, the
on
thing
board
is,
or from
No, from,
participants?
from people.
Oh.
from people, yeah, not from members, not from the board.
Yeah.
I mean, I presume the board was good with it, because that's,
Yeah, that's. what they
you know,
put
so
out.
I mean, I'm just,
That was illegal. That totally came from the lawyers. It was not something that.
right,
Yeah.
right, it wasn't some, like.
Yeah.
Greenwashing or whatever, I mean, it was just driven by making it legal, right? And they got upset, so it's just having somebody else do the actual writing, I think, is good, because if anybody in town was actually writing it, they would.
Yeah.
It's one of the reasons I don't like, I don't think I could survive planning board.
Yeah, I'm with you. I couldn't do it either.
No, you might, but I
Yeah. Stuff doesn't interest me that much.
anyway, all right, so do we need to go into with more of that?
I don't think so. I mean, we can plan to, if we want for March, most of these things will be, I mean, we'll still have some like one-liner updates, but that'll be it. So we can.
It's right before the town meeting.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think, Sarah is not gonna have, are we gonna have anything to talk about at the March meeting? Sarah's not gonna have stuff until, she's not coming till the second March meeting, which
Oh.
means it's gonna be after our meeting.
Well,
We
let's,
do the working sessions on the March meeting.
we gotta make sure we got I'm sorry, what'd you say?
Well, we've got to do what we need for town meeting.
Right.
Hopefully that'll be quick.
Yeah.
And then we have this working session, the ones we're skipping
I
tonight.
mean, we can still review all of that and get it all in
Yeah.
our head, because that'll prepare us
I
for.
think it's worthwhile. to-
Yeah.
And then do Sarah's stuff
Yeah.
starting in April.
Okay,
From what I can glean, getting the whole flow of the Sarah and their documents, it's gonna take a couple efforts to get a flow
Yeah.
going, so the
Yeah.
first one may be rough.
And you can always just watch it on Zoom. You know?
Well, I wanna see the documents, right, the things that comes from Sarah that
she has.
then will go to the board.
Right, for the second March meeting, she will have the site plan review edits ready.
So that'll happen like soon after town meeting,
Yeah,
yeah. I mean, I don't even know what we're looking for at, so that's where I wanna see.
yeah, well, yeah.
And then we're gonna have to be creative or whatever with what we think,
Yeah,
how
I mean,
to do that
Because
You're
advocacy.
gonna read it, you're gonna say, this doesn't make sense to me. What
Well,
about this? And then that's kind of.
I think it's gonna be more of what's missing,
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
this all makes sense, but it's not doing
Right.
any additional protections for this or that.
And I
And
think.
that's where I think we have to,
Right.
it's gonna be, have to be creative, looking at opportunities.
right, which is
And-
why we need to.
Yeah.
be up on all the things that Jeff suggested. 'cause that
Yeah.
would be-
Yes.
If we really internalize the NRI, then
Right.
what you just said will be easier to do. You'll say, hey, this is missing, because I know what's in the NRI, and what the recommendation would be for wildlife habitat, corridors, et cetera, so.
Is the
Yeah.
page 8 and 9, the stuff from Jeff? Moosewood Ecological, page 8 and 9, you had mentioned, referenced it?
Yeah. Yeah,
Are these the things, like, are these the opportunities that we have to kind of, this is in chapter 13, I think?
Yes, both of these are page 8 and 9 and page 33. These are both documents from Moosewood. The 33 is the actual NRI that he created. And then the page 89 are we paid him, the grant actually paid Moosewood to review our regulations and give us this overview. And
Yeah.
like one of the complaints that the planning board had, which I agree, is it's a rather high level. You know, Jeff is like,
right.
you know, include a more robust discussion on ecosystem health. It's like, how?
Yeah.
What do we say?
Yeah.
What do we?
And right. I felt a lot of these were just too obtuse to get your hands around. But so I think if we look, we're gonna have to look at all these things on 8 and 9.
Yeah,
And then with them in mind, or even then look at Sarah's document and say, do any of these, could they fit in here? You
right.
know, and that's, I mean, as an approach, otherwise,
Yeah.
I have no idea.
Well,
Because these things are good ideas, but there's no place in their document unless we know to think of it, you know?
right.
Okay,
I mean, what I think we could do, if next month, and we should try to figure out if there's a way. Russell sent what times he was available. If, I don't know, if we can move it even earlier, if that works for Scott. But if, I think all of us going through these together could maybe do a little brainstorming
Yeah.
and just
Yeah.
have some notes like, okay, here's an idea on what we could do for ecosystem health, you know, who knows?
But even just, someone, you might have a reference of best practices that you've seen
Yeah.
on a webinar. Or something.
Exactly.
That's the kind of stuff, which is kind of
Exactly.
integrate all that knowledge to the table. So, yeah.
Exactly, yeah, so that's why I think it's still valuable to have our discussion.
Because we don't have to have answers to it, but we just have to have a means of, bringing more information to the table so that it's integrated into if it's important, integrated into their documents.
Right. And does Moosewood, I've never poked around their website that much. Do they have like a resources page that has?
I think he does.
Because I wonder if we could go there and find some information about some of these things that you talked
I've got a couple of comments. Okay, so Barbara, Richter always has ideas. I don't know what she has, but she's way more regulatory oriented. So she's someone that we can always ask questions to. I mean, she always seems happy to take questions and give answers.
about. Okay, perfect.
Yeah.
I'll be able to get emails. But just so you all know my actual dates, I fly to Nairobi on February 19th, which is 2 weeks from today, I think. And then I get back I actually don't get back until March 17th. Yeah.
So you're out of communication that whole time?
No, I'll be getting email. It's gonna be spotty though.
Okay, got it. So if we're going to have a March meeting, it has to be later.
I will be back in Florida on the morning of the 17th. So yes, we could have a meeting on whatever right after that, like the night. I don't know what day it is, but
Well, then what'd you say, planning board, the town meeting's on the 15th? Yeah. So, I thought we had our meeting before that.
We do on the 10th would be the normal.
I
meeting.
can't do anything until, myself, I can't do any meetings until after the 17th.
Well, you're SOL then.
Yeah.
So, I mean, on the 19th, so then that planning board meeting is on the 18th that she's coming to. The 19th, the big room is open.
What,
I don't know if, does it, so which is more important, to have this discussion with us present without Scott to like, we can maybe figure out what we want to ask Barbara Richter or whatnot, before like Sarah.
I would just keep the ball moving, right? We got a meeting on the 10th, well, let's bang
Yeah.
through it. Well, sorry,
Okay.
meeting on the 12th, let's just bang through it and
Okay,
Right.
catch Scott up. I mean, he's.
Yeah,
well, and Scott, those 2 pages, I don't know if you have reviewed them.
I have.
Okay, I mean, if you have any comments, whether you want to share them now or whether you want to share them over email, you could definitely do that, and then we can incorporate them into the discussion next month.
So you're talking about pages 33 and 34, and the other one is
8 and 9.
8 and 9. Yeah. Okay.
I mean, if you can just email us your thoughts
Yeah.
before, well, then we'll
Hmm.
bring them in.
Do you have your email working right now?
Yeah, I saw your pictures, that was really nice.
Yeah, I just thought Cathy's got her laptop, I see. So I sent the knock knock, who's there?
Oh,
Did you
I
send it-
couldn't figure out how to share it on the Zoom.
Did you send it to iCloud or Gmail?
Yeah,
Email.
gee, yeah.
I have 2 different emails.
I sent it to everybody, but anyway, but my guy that tomorrow he will be able to put those white, bubbles like from comics that says knock knock, who's there, and then you have a block of type that says let's find out and on the Temple, Town of Temple BioBlitz and put the dates and stuff like that.
okay,
Okay, and we can just put, like for Jeff's blurb, we can put a white rectangle and then put
Yeah.
the
Right.
text on that.
Yeah.
Perfect. All right, so we'll keep the March meeting the same, and that means probably the day after our March meeting actually may be when we get Sarah's info.
yeah.
So. Okay. That sounds like a good plan. Did you want to share more, Scott? You said you had a couple of comments.
No, not right now. I just I think that it's just good to stick with it and kind of not get too hung up on having a meeting at the right time. Just participate as best you can, even if it's only 1 or 2 people, and I'll try to weigh in with some information, and I will be back, in Temple by March 23rd or 4th.
All right, then there'll be one more person who can attend a planning board meeting.
Yep.
Awesome. All right. Are we done?
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
I'm good.
7:47.
47.
So this is actually a really good article.
Yeah, it is. It
And
is.
the timing is perfect because
He's got another one. He did a series for about 3 weeks. 3 of these on solar.
yeah, well, this is,
There we go.
so the renewable energy